Hello, everyone. It's Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Thank you all so much for inviting me to participate in the Feminist Peace Summit. It is truly an honor to share space with so many inspiring women advocating for peace and justice for all. In my district, grassroots organizations like Mothering Justice, Michigan United, We the People Michigan, Palestine Youth Movement, JVP Detroit, the Metro Detroit DSA, and the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights all help keep me connected to the voices and the needs of our local communities. The power of local engagement on issues of peace and justice and ending forever wars has been at the center of our country's ceasefire movement. We know that the majority of the American people are with us, even if my colleagues in Congress refuse to listen to the voices of many of their residents. Many advocates coming to the Capitol Hill right now are advocating for peace are the same residents and activists that my colleagues are used to hearing from around clean water, affordable housing, immigrant justice, and more. These are the same doctors that speak to them about the horrors of gun violence in our communities. They are the same folks that now are coming and knocking on the doors of my colleagues and saying, please end the suffering of the Palestinians in Gaza. Pastor Bland Jr. in Detroit taught me that we are not a country that is divided, but disconnected. Anti-war, pro-peace movements must connect with other movements. It is how we saw the Civil Rights Act movement gain more support, as well as the right to organize unions in our country. It is through everyday people working together on the ground that we can challenge oppressive systems. So again, thank you all. Thank you so much for standing up for what is right. Thank you all for allowing me to share space with all of you. And a special thank you to the Feminine Peace Initiative and the University of Denver's Inclusive Global Leadership Initiative for putting together this important summit.
There's gonna be a song in a minute. Forgive the, what we call in Mexico, gallos. Gallos is like when you have like a chicken stuck in your throat. Yeah, this song is from Nalini Stamp, who, for those who don't know Nalini, she's a badass Caribbean Black organizer doing a lot of work in New York, and she cares a lot specifically about governing power. I've learned a lot from her in the work of the Rising Majority, and she's also an incredible cultural worker. So we decided to play one of her songs so that you can sing along, even if you have a chicken in your throat.
Why are we in this situation that brings us down? Can't you see we are losing patience? We are losing patience with oppression now. The people will rise, 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 the people will rise. We have come to raise our voices, for the broken down. You and me, we will stand together, on common ground. The people will rise, 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 the people will rise. Why are we in this situation that brings us down? Can't you see we are losing patience? We are losing patience with oppression now. The people will rise, 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 the people will rise.
Everybody, it is my great pleasure to just kick us off on this very final closing conversation, moment of gratitude, moment of grounding, and hopefully a call to action. I just want to begin on behalf of all of the organizers and the organizing team with a couple of thank yous. A summit like this doesn't happen without a lot of energy, a lot of labor, a lot of love, a lot of time, a lot of resources. And I just want to quickly start us off by thanking a few folks that really made it happen. We've been lucky as the 4 organizations that really brought this summit to life, both the Inclusive Global Leadership Initiative here at the C Center, at the Joseph Corbell School of International Studies, alongside our partners at Women Cross DMZ, Grassroots Global Justice Alliance. Woo! Yeah? Okay, let's take that back. Women Cross DMZ. Grassroots Global Justice Alliance. And Madre. And can I get an Igley shout out as well to all of my Igley folks in the room? Some of you have come from very far away, and I'm so honored and grateful, all of you who've done what it takes to make the time. It's hard. It relies on a lot of people back home taking care of a lot of things for us, including our kiddos, to be able to be present with each other. And I just want to honor all of the energy that it took to bring that to fruition with you all. I'm also going to say 2 very, very special thank yous by name to 2 people that this really wouldn't have happened without. And the first of them is Carly Paul. Carly, when we were trying to come up with, first of all, Carly's been part of every meeting on this whole organizing committee. She's a brilliant graduate student here at the Corbell School. And Carly wore so many different hats in this planning process, including that she created the beautiful collage and all of the marketing materials that you've seen throughout the summit, but also throughout all of the social media. It is her flowers, her collage process that brought, I think, a lot of these beautiful visuals to life and helped bring us an identity. So Carly, thank you so, so much. Second person I'd really like to thank deeply, and somebody who has embodied a feminist ethic and ethos and praxis throughout the very, very beginning of this planning process, is Shannon Tweedy. Shannon is the program manager for the C Center. She has 19 faculty affiliates that she supports. She supports a ton of graduate students. And this was really on top of her day job, pulling this summit off. And so Shannon has worked exceptionally hard to bring this, into being, and to, make sure that that we all were fed and nourished, that it was recorded, that all of the chairs were set up and down, the garbages, all of these things. Shannon, you've done everything. And I'm so grateful. We're so grateful to you. She's also like, don't forget the other people you're supposed to thank. That's what she's reminding me of right now. I want to also give 2 more big, huge thank yous to Ashton Scheller, our other program manager at the C Center, who has been our communication support, who has been all full-time logistics, and has just been completely all hands on deck in making this happen. Ashton, you're a wonderful human being, and I'm so grateful to get to work with you every day. Thank you so much. And finally, but definitely not least, is Avantika Singh, who's right there, who we started on her birthday. She's been her birthday here. Another amazing graduate student at the Corbell School that I'm so lucky as a faculty member here to get to work with. Avantika, you have done everything from, read my emails to respond to people to make sure we weren't dropping the ball on things, to, help, with the setup and takedown and everything in between, as well as bringing your feminist curiosity and brilliance to this space. And so I'm so impressed by you every single day, and I'm very, very grateful to all of your labor and energy. Thank you. I also just want to take a moment to thank all of the co-sponsors that really enabled us to pull this off, and to all of the individuals whose financial support made this work. We were really, really lucky in this organizing to be able to bring people from many different parts of the world here, thanks to that co-sponsorship and support. And you know who you are, but for all of you who haven't taken a look yet at that generous list of organizations, of initiatives, of people, please grab a program. It's really an awesome list of folks. Just a big shout out to everybody. And a couple of things coming up, especially in Colorado, for those of you that are here. Some of our Colorado co-sponsors, including Women Powering Change, have a huge event coming up on May 18th. Sorry, May 22nd. Thanks, Cinda. May 22nd. So there's going to be another moment to gather for those of you who are here in Colorado based on May 22nd at the Women Powering Change event. So I just want to highlight that. So over the 9 months, did I forget anyone? I'm sure I did forget many people, actually. So let me actually just say, sorry, one more thing. To all of the DU students who came and supported this, especially Shada, who ran our collage. I see so many of Reedy, Alex, Depasha, all of you who have really helped bring this to life as well. On top of the fact that it's midterms, we are not through the semester. We've got 5 more weeks. So this is right in the middle of our quarter, and I am so grateful to all of you for taking the time. Thank you so, so much for being here.
Yes. Yes.
All of you who responded to our invitation to join us as speakers, as plenary speakers, and also as facilitators and organizers of the breakout groups. This is a collective project, and your wisdom and your expertise and your energy helped actually pull this off. And to make it the space, I think that hopefully all of you here have felt like it's been for the last couple of days. To be honest, over the last 9 months that we've been planning this gathering, one of our central goals was to really try to cohere a community that cut across these silos that oftentimes keep us apart. One of the reasons we're here in a university space is to make it very clear that this is what universities should be doing, creating spaces for radical feminist conversations, for conversations that decenter military and securitized responses to conflict, for making spaces and stages that elevate the wisdom and the expertise that has been so present here. And so it's a joy as a professor and as an academic to be able to collaborate with so many of you across different spaces: advocacy, activism, grassroots organizing, philanthropy, community organizers. So many of you that are here. Really, we come from some sort of different backgrounds in many contexts, and yet I think we gather to see where we have synergy and power together. And we gather also to nurture the relationships. And I think that's one thing that came out really beautifully in this last couple of days for me personally, was just how many relationships with people in the room matter so deeply. And I'm grateful for the chance to get to nurture them. We also gather to orient ourselves, as Linda wisely said in the last panel, to orient ourselves towards a lifetime of struggle, but in community with each other. So let me turn it over to my fellow comrades, co-conspirators, schemers and dreamers, if you will, but to remind us that we saw this gathering as a call to action, not as something that we would leave here and leave behind, but as a call to action to strengthen our footing in this moment of historical militarization. And in this moment of a radical and transformative political awakening that I think we're seeing across campuses, especially in this moment. And we saw this call to action as really an opportunity to take a step together to reimagine security, peace, and liberation through feminist values of care, cooperation, and centering those that have been most impacted by the harms of militarism and war and other systems of oppression. So with that, I just want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts and energies here at the Korbel School and hand it off to all of you.
Thank you all again. I'm having this weird sensation of being so tired that I feel like my brain is melting, and so energized that I feel like I could levitate. So thank you all for being here with me as I figure out those two dynamics going on with me right now. But I wanted to, as we close, to take us back to the beginning. Back to the beginning of at least our thinking about what were our grounding commitments when we came together and thought about what this summit would be for. And so, and there were 3 of them. And the first one was to challenge US militarism and work to repair historic harms. We wanted to work to advance a new US foreign policy that's based on principles of cooperation and reparation for those historic harms and injustices caused by US-led wars, coups, and neoliberal economic policies that have stifled democracy and led to enormous violence and corruption around the world. So that was the first principle. The second core principle was grounding feminist foreign policy in movements to discuss and debate and advance a new kind of feminist foreign policy that goes beyond simply getting women into existing patriarchal, militarized systems of violence and towards a new vision of genuine security that prioritizes caring, equity, sustainability, and being in right relationship with nature and with people. We wanted to center the voices and experiences of those most impacted by war and militarism in order to democratize the process of shaping foreign policy and to build a popular constituency without which we lack the power to transform policy in sustainable and accountable ways. So in the face of rising authoritarianism and fascism, as we were discussing this morning, how do feminist values of liberation, equality, and inclusion inform our policymaking? That was a second core commitment that we wanted to be grounding ourselves in. And the third and final one was to cross domestic and foreign divides. I think in the conversation, some people were even saying, let's not even use the word foreign. We're talking about a wholeness, a holistic approach. So to strengthen our understanding of militarism at home and abroad, and to build a feminist anti-war movement that can break down that binary that exists between domestic and foreign policy, to advance new thinking and organizing. We noted that under the Biden administration, US foreign policy continues to be aggressive, under-resourcing diplomacy and support for feminist civil society while massively expanding the Pentagon budget. So this militarized approach threatens both our well-being at home and abroad, including by reinforcing the default to state-sanctioned violence, especially against communities of color at home, and by siphoning resources away from human needs. So we recognize that we cannot achieve genuine human security without building power across those divides. Thank you all very much.
And I'm gonna share a synthesis of the super quick collective reflections that happened earlier before we went on to our last breakout groups. So the first question was around what shifted your thinking from when you came to this gathering. There was one that made my heart sing about getting to know grassroots leaders that now can be in connection with around transforming feminist work and feminist peace both in the US and externally. Then there was one around, and I'm gonna share a few, just knowing that they kind of resonate across several other comments that were made. So there was one about we really need to centralize an anti-militarization approach to our feminist and foreign policy advocacy, activism, and relationship building. We need more safe space and sacred spaces like this to strengthen ourselves and each other. Diasporic organizing as a path forward, building a coalition of progressive feminist diaspora groups committed to demilitarizing the US empire and moving our war economy to a green and caring one. That we really do need all groups, activists, academics, policy analysts, involved and together in this movement. I now believe that there are feminist groups that don't center white feminism and seek to build engaged, inclusive coalitions that will make real change. Thinking about authoritarianism as something that has to be authored, that is an intentional project to erase indigenous and queer stories, and how that is present in the US and abroad. So that's the first question. For the second one, moving from problem solving to relationality, the power of building connections with others across and between movements, contexts, and sectors, academia, activism, policy, and advocacy. Stay in touch with each other. Relationships and connections are everything. And this is a really important one for us because part of really what we aim in this gathering is to bring people together that can sustain relationships over time and collaborate over time, support each other, amplify each other. That policy spaces can and should be guided by love, and we shouldn't be afraid to say that out loud. So what are the feminist lessons that we must learn in this moment to evolve the feminist peace movement? We must continue to challenge dominant narratives by seeking knowledge and understanding from other perspectives. We cannot shy away from the halls of power, but must understand that change in policy is far more than change in personnel. Building coalitions we are uncomfortable in. Lean into being uncomfortable and building bridges with groups working on different issues, as they are all interconnected. We have to learn how to sustain ourselves through care and embrace growing pains as non-divisive but transformative. Need more non-aligned mass movement based on feminism to hold liberal feminist structures that serve and hold the state accountable. Decenter the self, elevate the community, our source of power. Helping to resource this movement and map the ecosystem so that we can prioritize where to lift up power in key positions. And you can snap. Abolition is the only path forward. Allows us to try new things, trial and error, allow ourselves to make mistakes in order to grow and learn. And the last one, we must be thoughtful and nuanced. We must be more thoughtful and nuanced than those whose power we're trying to undo. And the commitments, which I think, I could read all of the commitments. There were like 77. I'm gonna only read a few. There were so much commitment to radical love, like 10 people said that. And then to keep pushing my colleagues to show up better and practice feminist courage. Becoming more active in supporting Palestine as is a flashpoint interconnected with all of our struggles. Don't discount people just because we don't see 100% eye to eye on something. Holding space to grieve, but also experience joy, just like Yanar. Remain true to my values and actions of base building and centering directly impacted people on the front lines. To keep seeking out radical spaces and connections, to keep expanding the network of comrades and engage in this multipolar work. Build stronger relationships with each other to free Palestine and all oppressed people. And raising feminists. So yeah, I will pass it now to Christine, who's definitely raising a feminist at home. I was thinking of Jeju earlier and how much we miss her in the space.
Okay. We are all raising Jeju. In fact, it's been so sweet to have old comrades say, we've been watching your daughter grow on Facebook. And I hate Facebook, but it is a beautiful thing. I'm going to try not to cry, but you know I'm a crier. Thank you so much for taking time from your incredibly busy lives to be here together, to build that formidable anti-war movement that we need to end the US's forever wars. Yeah. It has been deeply heartening to gather, to see old comrades, to meet new ones, and to share space, and to see that a feminist peace movement actually even exists, and that we are actually thriving and growing. What a tremendous gift to have this feminist peace space. We leave here filled with new thinking, energy, and as Linda reminded us, a renewed commitment to hold the line against the fascists who are trying to drag us back into the dark ages and strip us of the rights, the hard-earned rights and dignity and the gains we have fought generations for. But we say, not on our watch, not on our Mother Earth, not on our bodies, not on our children's, not on our queer trans families, not on our indigenous, Black, brown, Asian, Pacific Islander, Arab, Muslim comrades, and certainly not on our Palestinian brothers and sisters fighting for their liberation. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. Thank you for this amazing space, for feminist friendships, imagining bold visions and weaving our dreams and movements together. I'm leaving even smarter than when I arrived, even more creative and generative of what's possible, and even more committed to help grow and resource this movement. And I'm looking to you, Kavita Ramdas. We've tapped into something powerful, something desperately needed. So let's go forth together, feministas. The people will rise, feministas will rise. And as Arundhati Roy once famously said, and I was in that auditorium in Porto Alegre, Brazil, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. We are on our way. Thank you for joining us.